I'm going to hand it over now to Susan Summers, who's been the facilitator of the Sustainability Planning Learning Collaborative for the last 7 or 8 years, I think. And we'll tell you a little bit more about this webinar series and about our presentation today. So thank you, Susan.
Jill. So I was going to say good morning. It still feels like it's not even morning here, but it feels like it for me. But welcome to all of you. It's nice to see your faces. I'm really excited to introduce you to Talena Ford, but I wanted to take just 1 minute and talk about that Sustainability Learning Collaborative, give you a little history, because this series is kind of the culmination of their work, which has been pretty spectacular. This group started in 2017 with a leadership group who did a series of webinars, and then they surveyed the whole lifespan national network to see what their priorities were. And, sustainability always comes up as like one or, among the top priorities, but nobody actually wants to do it. But we've had a group of brave states engage in this, and you're going to hear from one of the outstanding states, Oklahoma this morning, Talena Ford. The next webinar presentation will be from New York, who actually did sustainability planning and have reaped immense rewards from that planning. And then the final in the series is Alabama. And they not only have state legislation, they really have strong grassroots resource diversification. So there's just enormous expertise, knowledge, generosity. And I want to say we've divided this into 3 parts. Each part is necessary to keep your program going, or to rebuild your program, or to repair your program. But one is not sufficient, and they build upon each other. So we've constructed the webinar, so you'll see how to do that. The other thing that I would say is one of the reasons I think these states are strong is not only are they strong internally, but the states that have participated in the webinar series, including like Massachusetts, Idaho, there have been Arizona, there have been many states that have participated in addition to these leaders. They have all supported each other. And this is a time of change and uncertainty. So I just want to say, you still have colleagues around who care, or focused, have a wealth of knowledge. If you need to contact anybody, you don't know how, contact me. I'll find you the right person. I'll arrange, talking groups if you need to problem solve anything, or just, you're worried about what's going to happen. We can help you with that. But right now, the biggest help is going to be hearing about building partnerships from Talena Ford from Oklahoma. She's got this long title. Let's see if I get it right, Talena. Program Administrator for Grants and Coalitions at Oklahoma Human Services. And that's her official title, but wait till you hear from her as a person and as a leader. So I hand it to you, the most excellent Talena Ford.
Well, thank you, Susan. That was quite the intro. I hope I can live up to it.
You will.
All right. Well, I'm going to start sharing my screen, and you guys see my PowerPoint? Yes. Okay. I've got you guys' faces covered up, so I apologize. So like Susan said, my name is Talena Ford, and I've had the privilege of spending my career dedicated to empowering individuals and families through self-sufficiency programs here in Oklahoma, Kansas, and California. My story starts at the University of Oklahoma, where I earned my master's degree in administrative leadership. I've had a diverse career. I've worked in program administration way back when Welfare Investment Act, and I've co-founded a nonprofit organization. I've managed state benefits like SNAP, TANF, and childcare. And now I work as the programs administrator for the Grants Coalitions unit here at Oklahoma Human Services, where I support individuals with special needs and their caregivers. And today we're going to talk about how these experiences have taught me the incredible power of leadership, partnership, and mentorship. And we will get right into it. So leadership is a critical component in driving a sustainable future. As leaders, we have the power and responsibility to empower others and guide organizations to move towards a sustainable path. This presentation will explore the key principles and strategies of effective leadership and help create more sustainable programs. Let me introduce you to the Oklahoma Caregiver Coalition leadership. So under my unit, we have our coalition, and from left to right is Shelley Gladden with Oklahoma Able Tech, and they provide technology resources and assist caregivers with individuals and disabilities. She will be co-presenting with me down in Huntsville. And then there's myself. And then we have Claire Nichols Dowers with Leading Age, who advocates for quality care for older adults and their caregivers. Michelle Sourjohn with Oklahoma AARP, who advocates for policies that support older adults and their caregivers. And Aida Stevens with Sooner Success, and they offer valuable programming and resources for caregivers. And so I think Jill's going to put up a poll question, but we're going to take a look at how your leadership structures within your organization. How would you currently describe your leadership structure?
Are you able to see the poll?
Yes, we are.
Okay, great.
Tied right up with shared among a few and collaborative and distributive. So looking at the poll results, we can see a variety of leadership structures represented. I mean, they're very close. It is nice to see that there's not as many concentrated in one person, but each structure has its own benefits and challenges. For example, a concentrated leadership model can lead to quick decision making, but it can also overlook differing perspectives. On the other hand, a collaborative approach can foster innovation, but might slow down processes. So. What we really aim for at the Oklahoma Caregiver Coalition is to build a solid, lasting respite care system here in Oklahoma. We want to see innovative services that truly meet the diverse needs of our caregivers. We want respite that actually makes a difference in caregivers' lives, to give them their much needed breaks and to feel less stressed and less burned out. It's not just about the caregivers. We want to improve the quality of life for everyone involved. Caregivers deserve to feel better, and the people they care for deserve personalized attention and specialized support. Ultimately, we want to strengthen families, and we want to empower them to handle the challenges of caregiving and find their footing to maintain a sense of balance in their life. We know that regular respite is essential for a caregiver's own wellness. And as leaders, we have a chance to recognize that, to prioritize their well-being. We can champion policies and programs that empower our caregivers, and it just makes good financial sense. By preventing people from needing to go into institutions, by easing the burden of our medical services, we can actually save our state's money. But more than that, it builds stronger communities. When we support families, we increase caregiver resilience, and we make communities a better place for everyone. As leaders, we have an opportunity to make this happen. We can be the ones who say, yes, we value our caregivers. Yes, we're going to invest in their well-being. And yes, we're going to have a stronger community. So why was Oklahoma chosen to present on this topic? It boils down to the strong leadership and the real commitment to action. First, Oklahoma Human Services demonstrates clear leadership. We're not just talking about respite care. We're actively overseeing and ensuring effective implementation. Second, we've built a powerful network of community partners. We recognize that collaboration is key, and these partners extend our reach, allowing us to serve more caregivers and make a greater impact. And third, we believe in data-driven results. We're not relying just on guesswork. We're using data to inform our decisions and make adjustments and ensure programs are truly effective. Why is Oklahoma Caregiver Coalition, which is also known as OK Cares, considered a leader? We've built a strong coalition of over 400 supporters and partners. It means we're not alone in this. We have a community behind us. A good leadership knows how to build these strong collaborative networks. We focus on accessibility. We have an interactive website, a strong social media presence, because we want to make sure the resources are available and easily accessible to caregivers and their families. We understand that information is power, and we're committed to getting that information into the hands of those who need it. And in our first meeting of the year this year, we had over 100 attendees. Of those 400 actually show up, and there were several family caregivers that were also in attendance. Our annual caregiver conference shows our state's dedication to supporting. We had over 1,000 registrants of 73 of the 77 counties in Oklahoma. And our goal this year is to have all 77 counties represented. And we feel that if we can get one person from each county to access our resources, then that one person can share with another, and that person shares, and so on. And we will expand our reach significantly. We had over 125 vendors across the state. And then our virtual Q&A breakout rooms provided a safe and confidential space for caregivers to engage with subject matter experts. They could ask questions freely without the need to disclose their identities, benefit from the expertise of professionals genuinely invested in their success, all without being placed on hold. So I've shared with you why Oklahoma was chosen, and I want to tell you about my caregiving journey and share with you how I kind of ended up in this role. Being a mom has been the most rewarding experience of my life. On the screen, these are my children. So I have 3 children: Hannah, which is the one in orange, Nasir here in the white or the blue shirt, and then Natessa. And then I'm a proud mom of 3 bonus children: Alea, Jaden's up here running, and then this is Brittany and my bonus grandson, Brendan. My son, Nasir, was diagnosed with autism at an early age. My daughter, Natessa, has battled major depressive disorder her entire life. And my daughter, Hannah, has ADHD. Early on, I felt like I was in survival mode. My husband at the time, who served in the military, was deployed overseas when my twins were just 6 months old. I was trying to complete my master's degree, work a full-time job, and be a mom to these 3 kids all at the same time. It was incredibly challenging. While I had childcare for the kids during the day, finding someone to help me with everyday tasks like grocery shopping, time to write a thesis, or just having a moment to myself was nearly impossible. I often had to rely on friends for help, but ended up feeling like a burden, and I even lost some friendships along the way. If I'd known about respite care back then, things would have been so much different, so much different. I feel like if I had an opportunity to offer compensation for help with my friends with those kids, I may have not lost those friends, but I definitely overburdened my friends just to get to the grocery store. Well, fast forward to 2021, I was working as a Title III respite provider for a nonprofit organization. And I loved the work I was doing with the families, but the leadership in the organization had changed, and it was toxic and created a really stressful environment. I dreaded going to work every day, and it started taking a toll on my mental health. On one Friday afternoon, on a particularly difficult week, I came home and I told my husband, Courtney, I said, I can't do it anymore. I wanted to quit my job. He was surprised and supported and told me to sleep on it over the weekend because I'm the one that'll jump off a cliff and he's the one that's always going to catch me. And see how I felt on Monday morning. Well, Monday morning, 4 a.m., I'm up, I'm awake. I'm waking him up and say, I'm quitting. And I was super excited. I knew I needed the change. It was scary as I had no other job lined up. And that evening, my husband took me out to celebrate. But our celebration was cut short. In the middle of dinner, we received a phone call from his doctor. We had devastating news. My husband had cancer. This is my husband during his cancer journey here. I immediately regretted quitting my job. I felt like I'd made a reckless decision and put our family's financial security at risk. My husband, however, remained calm and reassuring as usual. He told me we'd face this challenge together and everything would be okay. I was an emotional wreck and overwhelmed with fear and uncertainty. A week later, I attended my final OK Cares meeting, our coalition that I now run, and I shared the news that I was leaving. And Nadine Walter, and most of you know her, um, who previously held the position that I'm in now, met up with me and asked me to go out and just have a drink with her. So when we met, Nadine offered me a job. I was hesitant at first. I was still reeling from my husband's diagnosis, and I didn't know what the future would hold. Plus, I had 3 children that were actively involved in sports and games and meets, 2 in college, and had us traveling all over the country. But Nadine was persistent, and she came back to me several times, each time sweetening the deal. She offered me a work from home position with flexible hours, allowing me to work from anywhere and attend all of my children's events. The salary was comparable to what I was making before, and she assured me my priority should be my husband's health and my children's well-being. Nadine's understanding and support were exactly what I needed at the moment. I accepted her offer, and I'm grateful I did. Fast forward to today. My husband is cancer-free. My children are thriving. I've had 2 promotions. I was able to be present during my husband's cancer treatment, attend all of Hannah's trap meets. In fact, a lot of you have been on meetings with me while I was in the car, probably driving to one. And she is graduating in May with her RN degree and going on to be a midwife. I supported my twins through their high school graduation. Nasir is pursuing his nursing degree and has completed training to become a firefighter. Natessa is competing in track and field just like her sister and keeps us traveling now. Jaden is graduating high school next year and still competing in track. Alea has become a nurse practitioner and now works for a heart transplant hospital in Florida. Everything you see in this video has happened during the time that I was caregiving and working for the state. I didn't miss a beat because of the leadership that I had. And the experience has profoundly shaped my perspective on leadership and its impact on caregivers. It's a lesson I carry with me every day, and I strive to create a positive and supportive environment with my own team. So flexible work arrangements are a game changer. They allow caregivers to provide care while maintaining their careers. I've been fortunate to have that supportive leadership, and I'm committed to extending it to my team. Recently, I shared this presentation with a team member who is caring for her in-laws, and she expressed how much she appreciated that flexibility that I provided to her. Honestly, without that, I might have lost that valuable employee, and her lived experience makes our programs better. I've also learned the importance of a strong support system. It's crucial to preventing burnout and building resilience. Caregiving has its challenges, but with the right support, both personally and professionally, back to those respite vouchers and having a good leader, we can navigate those difficulties and keep families healthy and thrive both in and out of work. All right, so how do we find the right people, the right leaders, the right partners, the right mentors? Well, it starts with something called power mapping. We all do this in some shape, whether we realize it or not. It's about figuring out who those key players are, who has the influence, and how they're connected. But being intentional about it and giving it a name and having a process can make a big difference. So what is power mapping? It's a strategic tool we use to identify those key stakeholders and their influence. Identify everyone involved, who has a stake in caregiving, caregivers themselves, obviously, but also service providers, community organizations, healthcare professionals, more. Figure out who has the power, who has the resources, the connections, the ability to make things happen. See how they're all connected, who influences who. Where are the potential collaborations? Are there any conflicts that we need to be made aware of? And find those leverage points. Who are the people that can really drive change? This is how we chose the initial leaders for the Oklahoma Caregiver Coalition. And we wanted to make sure that we had the right people at the table, the people with the influence, the expertise to get things done. For example, recognizing that I, as a state employee, cannot directly lobby legislature, we partner with AARP and advocate for policy change. We understand that the state contracting process can be a barrier to respite care providers and the vouchers, so our partnership with OU Cerner Success removes this barrier. The relationships that Leading Age bring to the table are essential for our continued growth, and the assistive technology expertise that AbleTech has empowers caregivers and their loved ones to age in place longer. Ultimately, power mapping helps us develop smart strategies, find allies, be ready for opposition, and build a successful coalition. It's about being strategic, intentional, and understanding the landscape. All right, let's talk about what really means to be an inclusive leader. For me, it boils down to 4 key things: commitment, courage, curiosity, and collaboration. Commitment is about building a culture where everyone feels valued and respected. It's about making sure everyone feels like they belong, that their voice matters, and that they have a seat at the table. I brought my whole family to this table and it was accepted. Courage. Sometimes being a leader means taking a stand. It means advocating for policies and initiatives that might not be popular, but we know the right thing to do. It's about having courage to drive social change. Good leaders are always learning. They're curious about different perspectives. They ask questions, they seek input from others, and they know they don't have all the answers, and they're always looking to understand different viewpoints. Collaboration. We can't do it alone. Inclusive leadership is about building partnerships, working together, and leveraging our collective strengths. It's about recognizing that we can achieve more when we work together. So when we talk about inclusive leadership, we're talking about creating a welcoming environment where everyone has an opportunity to thrive. And on to our next, so that was on leadership. Now we're going to talk about partnerships. Partnerships are the cornerstone of a strong and sustainable respite care system. By working together, we can, again, achieve more than we can alone. Building genuine, inclusive partnerships takes work. It's more than just a handshake. It's about a mindset. And here's how we approach it: with humility, commitment, and curiosity. Again, curiosity, I think, is huge. When I even do interviews, I ask people questions that evoke curiosity. It's important to me. We have to check our egos at the door. None of us have all the answers. We need to be open to learning from others, recognizing that everyone brings something valuable. Commitment is walking the walk. It's about demonstrating through our actions that we're committed to supporting and empowering everyone, no matter their role. And then curiosity, we need to be genuinely interested in the people we're working with. What are their experiences? What are their perspectives? What challenges are they facing? When approaching partnerships with curiosity, we build trust. Now, I'll be honest, like many organizations, the pandemic shifted our focus from in-person to virtual collaboration, but we're recognizing more and more the irreplaceable value of face-to-face connection. We're actively exploring ways to reprioritize in-person collaboration, both within our own team and key stakeholders. One way that we're doing this is through our annual conference. We host it in 5 different locations throughout the state. This allows us to meet caregivers where they are, reduce those barriers of participation, foster those vital in-person connections. And we've seen firsthand how powerful it is for people to come together and share their stories and learn from each other in a face-to-face setting. We're also looking at ways to incorporate more in-person gatherings for our members, whether it's regional meetings, workshops, training sessions. They're opportunities to create a stronger sense of community and allow for richer interactions. Of course, virtual collaboration is not going anywhere, especially for organizations like ours with members spread throughout the entire state of Oklahoma. We'll continue to leverage technology to bridge those distances, to stay connected. And it allows us to seamlessly share resources, collaborate on projects, no matter where we are. And we've seen great success with virtual events, which allow us just to have that connection from anywhere. We've created online spaces where members can connect and access resources and stay informed. Moving forward, our goal is to find the right balance of in-person and virtual. We believe combining the best of both worlds, we can strengthen our network, share information effectively, and ultimately provide the best supports. How do you prioritize who you partner with? Before we dive in, I'd like to get a pulse in the room and take a quick poll. What factors do you prioritize most? And I do believe this is one you can choose more than one. Yeah, multiple choice. Is it that you just share values? They bring skills to the table. They have a proven track record. You just need bodies, the resources they offer, or something else that you want to share? I'm so glad someone put warm body, because it's true. I mean, sometimes you just need a body count. All right. So we've got the majority being the resources offered, which I would agree with that, and the shared values. Okay. All right. So we believe that when everyone works together, everyone wins. So talking about collaboration and those partnerships, increased resources and expertise. When we join forces with other organizations or individuals, we suddenly have access to a much wider range of resources and expertise, which you guys found to be valuable in that poll. This means we can offer more services, provide better support, and tackle those really tough challenges with a whole team of brilliant minds. We expand our reach and our impact. We can't be everywhere at once, but by working with others, we extend our reach farther than we could do alone. And then enhanced innovation and creativity. Ever notice how the ideas often come from bouncing thoughts off of someone else? Collaboration brings together diverse perspectives, sparks new ideas, and helps us find creative solutions and challenges caregivers face. We're not just looking at things from one angle anymore. We get to see the whole picture. And with OK Cares, collaboration just isn't a buzzword. It's the core of everything we do. And there are times it's warm bodies. We need people to show up, but we'll get them involved somehow. And collaboration isn't just a tool for leaders, it's essential in their success. It's about weaving a safety net that supports not only caregivers and their families, but also the leaders who guide them to champion our efforts. When leaders work together, they break down walls between organizations. They run smoother, increase, and services are coordinated, and caregivers experience less stress and confusion. And then stronger community support, leaders who create a powerful network of support within their communities. They create more awareness, more resources for those respite care programs, and a stronger voice when advocating for those programs. Empowered and supported leaders, collaboration isn't just about external partnership, but how leaders work together within our organizations and across the field. By sharing that knowledge, resources, in decision-making, leaders create a more supportive and sustainable environment for themselves and their teams. And I do have a story about how the coalition was able to support in collaboration. So our Adult Protective Services Unit had received a call about an Oklahoma resident who was in an Arkansas hospital, and he needed a long-term care bariatric bed back on the Oklahoma side so that Medicaid could cover the payments and the cost. Problem was he lived in a very rural part of Oklahoma with limited facilities. So when they reached out to the coalition, APS reached out to the coalition and said, can you help? We sent out an email, and within 3 hours, the coalition had found a bed for this patient. and in Oklahoma. So it worked because the leaders of OK Cares were already collaborating. They had those connections. Those lines of communications were already open. They were respected. And this is what it amplified. Collaborative leadership amplifies our impact. It enhances our responsiveness, as in the story I shared. And then again, it builds a stronger, more supportive community. We create an environment where everyone feels supported and valued. You may see that as a theme throughout my presentation. The importance of shared leadership. So this slide highlights a really important point. We can't put all our eggs in one basket. Relying too much on concentrated leadership can actually create problems for organizations like OK Cares. And it creates burnout and stress. A small group of people trying to manage everything, programs, resources, advocacy efforts. It's a recipe for burnout. We need to spread out the responsibility and share that load. Limited perspectives. Caregivers come from all walks of life. They have different experiences, different needs. If a decision is made by a small, unrepresentative group, we risk missing the mark and failing to meet those diverse needs. It hinders growth. To truly support caregivers, we need to be flexible and responsive. That means creating a culture where everyone feels empowered to contribute those ideas and drive innovation. Concentrated leadership can stifle that. Threat to sustainability. What happens if the key leader leaves? If we're relying on just a few people, their departure can disrupt vital services. Distributing leadership and empowering others ensures continuity and long-term stability. Sharing the load, sharing the success. I mean, I almost feel like OK Care should have that logo because that's fully representative of what we do. And how that approach makes a difference. It increases ownership. When everyone shares the responsibility, the coalition, the caregivers, the families, community partners, it creates a sense of ownership. People feel empowered and more in control of what they're actively involved in decision making and can contribute their own unique knowledge and experiences. By bringing together diverse perspectives, we spark innovation and enhance creativity. We find creative solutions to challenges of caregiving because we are looking from all angles. This leads to a wider range of support options and resources that can be tailored to individual needs. Greater morale. By sharing the load and creating a stronger support network, we reduce stress, we prevent burnout, and foster a sense of community. This shared journey leads to a greater resilience and emotional well-being for everyone involved. And then improved decision-making. When everyone works together, we make informed choices. We consider a wide range of factors and potential outcomes, and it just broadens that. All right, we're going to talk about mentorship now. Mentorship is a tool for developing our next generation of leaders. And this photo captures a powerful illustration of mentorship. And I was speaking of Nadine earlier, and she's on my left. So she's the one on the left. So we have Nadine, who is currently the Deputy Director of Oklahoma Human Services CAP Division, myself, and Jeremy Buchanan, the Director of CAP Division. And Jeremy has been an incredible mentor to Nadine, who early in her career needed similar flexibility to what I needed, as we have active children about the same age. And she was able to navigate the demands of work and family with Jeremy's guidance and support. And then Nadine paid it forward, became an amazing mentor to myself. She provided me with the tools and the encouragement I needed to succeed in my career, especially during that very challenging time in my life. This photo is just a beautiful chain of mentorship where support and guidance are passed down from one leader to the next, creating this ripple effect of positive impact. It highlights how mentorship not only benefits the individuals, but also it strengthens the entire organization and community and the families. All right, we want to gauge how many people here have had experience either as a mentor or a mentee. And so if you'll take a moment and think about your own experiences, have you been a mentor before? Have you been a mentee? Once we have the poll, we'll go over that. So what I'm seeing from this poll is there's opportunity. You know, we've been, since I've had this position and have worked with Jill and Susan, they have sent several people my way to talk about and mentor on certain things. And I think there's a lot of valuable people in this group that could do the same. And so maybe that's something we should put out there, Susan, Jill, if someone's interested. So mentorship offers a wealth of benefits for the mentees. It's a powerful tool for personal and professional growth, providing guidance and support and encouragement every step of the way. Mentees gain valuable insights and knowledge from their mentor's experience. They learn from past successes and past challenges, and they gain a broader perspective and a deeper understanding of the field that they're working in. Mentorship helps develop new skills and competencies. Mentees can receive personalized guidance in developing leadership skills, communication strategies, and problem solving abilities specific to their area of work. In our case, it would be that respite. It's also about building confidence and self-esteem. Mentors provide encouragement and support, helping the mentees believe in themselves and their ability to make a difference in the lives of caregivers and families. This slide perfectly illustrates the power of mentorship, highlighting some key elements of guidance, network, and belonging. Pictured, we have Leela and Lamont Baker, the incredible founders of Nana's Closet. And they're a nonprofit organization here in Oklahoma City that provides essential items to kinship families free of charge. Their story began with a phone call, and it highlights how mentorship can empower individuals to step into roles they might not have ever imagined for themselves. Leela, a grandmother raising her granddaughter due to her daughter's substance abuse, reached out to me. She had recently adopted her granddaughter and was overwhelmed by the lack of resources available to grand families like hers. She wondered if other grandparents were facing similar challenges. I shared my experience working with grand families and the gaps in support I had witnessed, and our conversation provided her guidance, and then it solidified an idea. The determined grandmother, who previously worked in an optometrist's office and had no experience running a business, much less a nonprofit, took action. She decided to create Nana's Closet. It's an organization dedicated to providing those essential items to kinship families when a child is unexpectedly placed in their care. With continued mentorship and support, Leila and Lamont have become incredibly successful and some of my best friends. They've spoken in front of legislators and seeking support and raising awareness. They've helped hundreds of families navigate challenges of kinship care, and they continue to be a powerful voice for change, especially through their active involvement with our coalition, expanding their network and reach. And this story just exemplifies how mentorship can provide guidance, build networks, foster that sense of belonging. It empowers individuals to step up, embrace leadership. Leila will tell you that I forced her to stand in front of legislature. Either way, she did it, and she did amazing. But she makes a tangible difference in other people's lives. Leila and Lamont's journey serves as an inspiration, reminding us that mentorship is not merely about imparting knowledge, but about igniting a passion and fostering a sense of purpose. As we continue our discussion on empowering leaders and cultivating partnerships and nurturing mentorship, let us remember the profound impact that guidance, network, and belonging can have on individuals and communities. Mentorship is a lifeline for leaders. Through mentorship, experienced leaders can provide that valuable guidance, experience, and help their mentees develop those essential skills. It creates a safe space for open communication, active listening, and mutual support. And again, for fostering that sense of belonging and connection. The coalition, Oklahoma Caregiver Coalition, recognizes the importance of mentorship in supporting and empowering those respite care leaders. And we do that to reduce burnout, increase retention, and ultimately strengthen our leadership capacity to better serve. It's not about just providing guidance, but ensuring that we have continued success and sustainability. Moving forward, we need to build stronger, more sustainable respite care system that requires a three-prong approach. We need to empower our leaders by investing in leadership and development programs and fostering mentorship opportunities that are crucial to cultivating a skilled and passionate workforce. By providing ongoing training and support, we can equip these leaders with the tools and the resources they need to effectively guide and inspire others. We'll strengthen partnerships. Collaboration is key to maximizing our impact. By fostering partnerships between organizations, agencies, and caregivers, we pool our resources, we share our expertise, and we extend our reach. Nurture mentorship. Creating a culture of mentorship is essential for long-term success. Experienced professionals can provide that guidance and support to those that are newer in the field, ensuring knowledge transfer. This is a call to action. We need everyone to join the movement. Here's how you can get involved. Engage in collaboration. Actively seek out those opportunities, connect. And you're doing that here today. Share your knowledge, resources, and create a stronger, more unified support system. Support mentorship. Become a mentor. Become a mentee. Mentorship is a powerful tool for growth and development and empowerment. Advocate. Share your experiences and your stories. Raise awareness about the importance of respite care. Advocate for policies and strengthen respite care services and support caregivers in our community. We've explored the vital role of empowered leaders, thriving partnerships, and nurtured mentorship in creating a sustainable and impactful respite care system. We shared stories about collaboration, transformative power of mentorship. Remember, every one of us has a role to play in supporting caregivers and ensuring that they have access to the resources they need, whether you as a leader, mentor, or a partner, or an advocate. Your contributions are invaluable. Thank you for your time and commitment to the caregivers, and I will take questions if anybody has them. And if you'd like to connect at a different time, my information is on the screen.
Talena, thank you. That was wonderful. So feel free to unmute yourself and ask a question. And if you are shy, I've got one. I have like a lot to talk about because I worked with Nadine on the Sustainability Learning Collaborative for so many years. So I've seen some evolution and I've seen the mentorship in action. It's been wonderful. But one of the things as I looked at the poll about how many we had, like, I think 2 people that were leading alone.
Right.
We had about half who haven't been both mentored and been a mentee. So I'm wondering, like what you've done is so remarkable, but if I'm new, if I'm alone, or I haven't been mentored, it can feel overwhelming to start, I think. So, do you have any insights about that?
I know that when I took on this role, one of the first things that I was instructed to do was to lead the Oklahoma Caregiver Coalition. I thought I wanted to quit. I was like, what do I do with this? And I went back to Nadine and I said, I need more guidance. I need more time. I need to build that confidence. And she did exactly that. So I think feeling comfortable and having those open conversations are really important, and making people aware of your needs, and not just try to get through it because you need to get through it.
Good answer.
We do have a question from Kate in the chat. Did you want to unmute yourself, Kate, and ask it, or do you want me to read it for you?
Sure, I'll read it. I was wondering, like, what are the most significant leadership challenges in in sustaining respite programs that you may have experienced, or you may, during your years of experiences that you may have seen it, not may not be directed to your experience, but other people may have experienced.
Well, I think the hardest part is selling what respite is to leadership, has making it as important to leadership as it is to me. Because if we're, we've all encountered where respite feels where people don't understand what that means or can relate to it, but yet we all need it. And getting everybody to support the initiative of respite, because it feels like other things are more important. And in fact, Jill and Susan and I were kind of having a conversation. In my division, we're issuing SNAP, the food stamps, we're issuing TANF, the financial assistance within our agency. So getting people to listen to me and saying, hey, I'm just as important as food, has probably been my biggest in sustaining respite. Now, as far as sustaining the actual respite programs, I mean, I feel that always comes down to the bottom dollar. Making sure that we have funding for that. And that's one great thing about us partnering with like AARP, and we got that tax credit for Oklahoma caregivers passed, is that we are starting to see that we can have a voice in that legislature. I'm not allowed to as a state employee. I can't go and ask for that, but I've got partners that can. And I think they're better at it anyway than I would be.
That's what they do, right?
Right.
Most of the time. I
Yeah.
have another question,
Okay.
but I wait for anyone else to jump in.
I think it's fine. Go ahead, Kate. I'm not sure. Well, while Kate readies herself, I just wanted to jump in, Talena, about the threats to sustainability that we found going way back with the sustainability toolkit project. And I always think about this when I see the one leader. First of all, it's just too lonely doing it alone. And second, you've got to find friends. But we've had times where we've had a really strong, charismatic leader who didn't mentor others. And sooner or later, all of us are going to leave our jobs, you know? So that, that the remedy for that is to always mentor others. Even the strongest, most charismatic leader will be gone someday. So you want to make
You bring
sure.
up you bring up a great point. And one, Nadine, phenomenal, amazing leader. I am so fortunate to have worked under her. But when she took me on as mentor, when she started mentoring me, one thing that by bringing a fresh face to the table, we identified some potential faults in sustainability. And one of those, as simple as not having a shared email box where the majority of communication happens, because the person, when Nadine left, she took her email with her, and if she hadn't stayed within the agency, that email would have been a dead email. So just having that thought of, how do we make sure everybody has access to the information? And if I win the lottery tomorrow, that it will continue.
Mhm. Kate, go ahead and ask your question.
Yeah, my other question was, in terms of strategies, what strategies have been successful in in ensuring leadership transition without disturbing services?
Well, like I shared in my story, apparently Nadine knocking on my door 5 times and increasing the benefits package every time that I said no to coming to work, that worked really well because I had already had experience, but with the coalition. And so I think it all goes back to having those relationships and sharing the knowledge and being sure that you are not the only person. Um, I've got a couple, I think I see at least one of my team members on here. I could go on vacation tomorrow and nothing would fall. And I'm proud of that. I don't need to own everything. Um, why would you want to? Jill.
Yeah, I have always been totally amazed at the effectiveness and coherence of the coalition. OK Cares. It's so well established. Everyone is super committed to the cause. And I'd like to know if you have any concrete examples. I mean, having been in the coalition and then leading the coalition, I think you have a unique perspective too. But some concrete examples of how you get people so engaged so that
It's
when
that
there's a question from a caregiver, you have an answer for them in 2 or 3 hours.
Yeah. So it's that partnership. I mean, that, we are a community. We support each other. We attend each other's events. We promote each other. Being a part of our coalition, if you have an event, let me back up. So if you most of us on our grants have to promote and we have to have people show up and we count that data. We have a large following and we are right there front and center saying, how do we support you? How do we make you better? There is no competition here because the only way we succeed is if you succeed. And we truly live and die by that. And we get that in return. In my own household, we do this. Some of you may be familiar with love deposits, where you make deposit into other people's lives and then they pay you back because you're not overdrawn with the ask from them. I do that in every aspect of my life. I make sure that I am making deposits into my partnerships, into my leaders, into my employees, so that if I do have an ask, they're on it.
Mhm. Talena, I remember learning from Nadine about the coalition like years ago. I don't know if this is still true, but I was really struck by this, that I remember you had brown bag lunches and you had Ask the Experts and you had people going to communities like pre-COVID. And I've
Mhm.
always thought, and tell me if I'm right or wrong, that you don't have people coming to these coalition meetings like just little lumps taking in information. I think your state at the local level has a lot of agency and a lot of power that, it's not top down, I don't think, in your state. This is just, I'm guessing about this. This is how it seems to me. It seems to me like people are full partners. They're not just telling you, they're actually, you call on them. You let them make the love investment, right? You want them
Absolutely.
to do that.
On my one slide where I had the picture of the executive team,
Mm.
I had a hard time even putting that up there because even though we are identified as the lead decision makers, we have never sat down and said, we're going to do things this way. We host all of those decisions within those meetings with everybody. And in fact, one of the things that I think makes us special is when we show up to a meeting, we actually withdraw our comments until the end because we know that people look at us as leaders and they will sometimes just lean the way we want them to. We lean just to lean that way, and we don't want that. During our strategic leadership plan, we stepped back, our meeting, we stepped back and sat behind everybody and listened. Um, and then we were able to soak in that information, which did change some of our perspective. But if we'd gone into just doing that meeting and being a part of it, it would have been all about the executive committee and their ideas. So yes, people know that they are valued and their ideas are important. How can mentorship programs be formalized within respite care initiatives? I think like any other program, you know, for us, I just have people that come to me and I follow up with them, or my employees. We have weekly meetings. I carve out space that is only for them and the distractions aren't there. Um, just identifying how you work best. Some people don't necessarily want to be isolated once a week. You know, they might prefer a different avenue. It may just be via email. Within our agency, we are given coaches as well, and you can have a coach. And I have a coach that I spent 6 weeks weekly meeting with him. I came to the table with my agenda. And then after 6 weeks, he's like, "What do you want to do?" And I was like, "Okay, let me call you," because my time was too overwhelmed to continue meeting with him. And plus, if you tell someone they need to meet with you at a certain time, you may not be getting the best. They're going to be distracted, or they won't prioritize that meeting. So really letting them guide it. And so my coach, whenever I have an issue, I send him a Teams message like, "Hey, I'd love to talk." And he's like, "I'm available at 8." And so providing that open door, I think, is huge, but letting the mentee really tell you what they need. Any strategies to identify potential community partners for a coalition besides AARP? Yeah, that power mapping. You can even Google it. It if you kind of think where you're lacking and identify those different areas that like AARP, or when I talk about leading age and their connections, if you have a leading age in your area, contact them. But decide where you have the areas of need and start looking at the leaders in those areas and start having those conversations and saying, "Hey, how do we support one another?" And just identify that. And if you need help, who is that? Alexis, if you need help with that, I'd be glad to help you power map it. We could start with Google.
So we're a little bit over, and I want to thank everyone. Alexis, I've got a list of agencies that we put together for a document, an ARCH. I can get those to you. Then you can call Talena. Let's get some mentorship going here. I want to invite you all to join the next two webinars. And I want to say that each of these presenters, each of these states could have presented on any of those three topics: the leadership, mentorship, the planning, and the advocacy and resource diversification. So again, they go hand in hand. So stick with us. There's a lot of information, and of course, you're not going to get your PhD in leadership and mentorship in one time. So reach out to us. And if you are beginning, and reach out to us and say, "I don't even know where to start. I don't even know what question to ask." And we'll have a conversation with you, and you're not alone. Reach out and we'll help with anything. So part 2, April 17th, part 3, June 12th. Please join us. Thank you so much for your good work, everyone. And Talena, thank you for a wonderful presentation.
Thanks for having me.
Anytime.
All right.